Today on
Doomed!
TikTok and Snapchat go to Congress for the very first time. Charlie Kirk takes a very serious question while touring the country to talk about critical race theory. Spoiler alert, it's not a question about critical race theory. And Ben Shapiro reviews Squid Game. All that and, well, not much more, because that's the topics for this very special edition of Doomed on a Tuesday. This is the extra content I will be doing every week now. Still the regular show. Let me pull myself up on the feed for people watching the live stream. This is still the, I'm still doing the regular show on Thursdays. But also you get bonus content now every week. And this is that episode. But first, breaking news. I received for those of you who don't know, I've been demonetized on YouTube for reused content. That is when you upload content that they say is on another user's channel. It's not a copyright thing. It's literally just like a policy thing where they don't want you making money off of just reposting videos from other channels, even if you have the permission to do so. Well, I heard back from YouTube, and my demonetization appeal has been denied. That's right, denied. So another month at least without YouTube monetization. That's when I can appeal again. In another month. Do you believe it? So, if you can support this show, patreon.com/MattBinder. I'm missing out on YouTube ad share revenue. I'm missing out on YouTube Super Chat. So yeah, if you could help out, that'd be great. Patreon.com/MattBinder. Also, as a positive note, though, we're only, what is it? I think about a half a dozen, maybe a little bit more, like 7 or 8, away from 300 patrons. That's a big, I mean, for me, that's a big milestone there. 300 patrons. So patreon.com/MattBinder. Also, I've been thinking about moving over to Twitch, and just Twitch. This is being simulcast on Twitch, but thinking about moving over just to Twitch, at least maybe just for the Tuesday episode of the show, the bonus extra news, stuff for the week. We'll see. So definitely go to twitch.tv/MattBinder and follow that. Also, do subscribe to the YouTube channel, because this is still the main source of video. And this is where I will always, at the very least, post clips. YouTube.com/MattBinder. And for those wondering, so what did they end up saying you did? They won't tell me. They won't tell me what they're considering to be reused content. Again, reused content means you're just uploading someone else's video with no additional commentary. I don't recall doing that. The only thing I think of are the 2 debates I did, the one with Convo Couch and the one with Michael Tracy, where I am literally in the video. Literally half the video is my production. It's me. I'm the one creating the content. So if they consider that reused content, then I don't know what to tell you. That's ridiculous. But yeah. Also, I did receive, I don't know if I did mention on the show, but I don't remember when, that I did turn on the new tip jar feature on my Twitter, where you can go and get links to where you can give me a one-off donation if you don't want to subscribe to the Patreon. Someone did randomly do that today, and I want to thank them. Someone sent me $5 via Venmo, via the Twitter tip jar feature, I assume. Sean K. I've been enjoying Doomed. Keep up the good work. Rose emoji. Thank you, Sean. I will be thanking that person again on Thursday. So everyone, the main show, everyone who listens to the main show can hear too. And then immediately following this broadcast, this live stream, it'll go to about 10:30. Immediately following this, I will be joining the fine folks over at the Unelectable Airwaves podcast on Twitch. It is twitch.tv/unelectable airwaves. I will, I'll send you all to the this is how we'll do it at the end of the show. I'll tell you all to go to my twitch.tv/MattBinder. So if you're not already following me there, you should when you do this. And then I will use the raid feature, to send you all directly to the unelectable airwaves stream where I will be a guest. So you will be able to find it without any problems. Sound cool? Sound cool. Mariana says Twitch UI sucks. Yeah, but you know what? Everyone's telling me that Twitch would be a great place for you, Matt. You'll find an audience there. The multi streaming is good, but people want, just make a show for Twitch. And, they've convinced me that there's an audience there that's an audience that I don't get usually on the YouTube or even during the multi stream. We'll see if it works though. I gotta try it out, right? Gotta try it out. Anyway, let's get into the news, right? Let's talk about what let's talk about today's topics of the day, shall we? So today was the first ever time TikTok and Snapchat were on the hot seat on Capitol Hill. There was a hearing today, a Senate hearing, and TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube were all part of it. And it was another hearing on, child safety on social media platforms. The hearing was with the Senate Subcommittee on Consumer Protection, Product Safety, and Data Security. That's the same Senate Subcommittee that held the hearings earlier this month. The first one with the Facebook executives about the leaked internal documents detailing how Facebook's very own research knew that its platforms, like Instagram, were harmful to young people's mental health, especially young women. And there's like someone knocking under me or above me. I can't tell where it's coming from. But also, that same subcommittee also had the hearing. What is that noise? That same subcommittee also had the hearing with the Facebook whistleblower who leaked those documents, Frances Hogan. And one of the standout things at those two earlier hearings on Facebook and how the platform deals with child safety, basically, hold on. There's something going on here with all this. Who's banging on the doors and everything? I have no idea what's going on. I'm getting text messages about what's all that noise. Very distracting. Sorry about that. So one of the two things that, if you watch those two earlier Facebook hearings, one of the two things you might have noticed is honestly just how productive those two hearings were. Very unlike most, big tech congressional hearings where, it's a lot of bullshitting and a lot of senators or House members, Congress people in general not knowing what the hell is going on. There was a little bit of that, but not so much. Or, the usual, everyone having their pet issue that they go after, even though that's not really what that hearing is all about. And it just is a load of, it just becomes a whole mishmash of, unproductive crap, really. But those two Facebook hearings were really standout just for how productive they were. You really did have a rare, and this is coming from me, a rare moment where it seemed like both Democrats and Republicans were on the same page, focused on what the issue at hand was, the very important issue of how Facebook knew its platforms were unhealthy for kids' mental state. Whether it be, eating disorder content, depression, sending someone down a spiral, body dysmorphia, whole array of issues here. And they really did focus on that. And it was good to see. And for the first time, I went over in a previous episode of this show, the Kids Act, Senator Marquis' act, where basically he wants to look at social media with the same way we look at, television when it comes to regulations protecting kids. How certain content can't be promoted to children, data can't be collected, advertising can't be, pushed on children in content advertise. There's a whole array of regulations there that he wants to extend to social media. Makes perfect sense. And, there was a discussion, obviously that, is this just Facebook? And that's been a long, it's obviously not just Facebook, but among Congress during those hearings, it was like, this isn't just Facebook. This is a broader tech issue in general. And clearly that's what led to today's congressional hearing, where they brought Snapchat and TikTok executives out for the first time, along with a representative from YouTube. And they basically wanted to discuss this same issue. Well, all that productive, praise from the previous hearings, in my opinion, basically just goes right out the door. Because Congress was back to its old routine during this specific hearing. And namely because Republicans decided to focus on TikTok. And, you might be going, focus on TikTok. TikTok's got a number of issues. There's those dangerous challenges that, force kids to put their, really their physical health on the line here. They partake in dangerous activities in the name of challenges. There's a recent one where it's like stealing shit from school, which obviously is not, maybe it's funny for them, and I'm sure I would have found it funny when I was a kid, but obviously maybe not so good that there's a social media platform, promoting that with their viral challenges, hashtags and stuff. And, obviously the mental health issues, there's a lot of eating disorder content, body dysmorphia issues on TikTok, a whole array of things. So if you're going, they focused on TikTok, that's probably what. I can tell you you're wrong. If you're wondering what they focused on when it came to TikTok at a hearing on child safety when it comes to social media, here's a clip to give you a hint about what the issue at hand was for Republicans. Here's Senator Dan Sullivan, Republican from Alaska, asking the TikTok executive about what I believe is a child safety issue, don't you?
Let me ask a couple questions related to that. Could a TikTok user could put up a video that criticizes the chairman of this committee, the ranking member, any senator, President Biden, former President Trump, couldn't they? Not like some horrible violent suggestion or anything, but just a criticism of a elected official.
Yes, Senator.
Is that common?
Is it actually TikTok really isn't the place for politics. We don't allow political ads, and so political content is not typically what people come to.
You don't ever have like funny.
It wouldn't be a violation. Yeah, and it wouldn't be a violation of our community guidelines as long as it's not mis or disinformation or something hateful. Then that would be allowed.
Good. That's good. That's free speech.
Yep.
I would hope you would answer that way. Could a TikTok user put up a video criticizing Xi Jinping? I know he's sensitive, for example, of being compared to Winnie the Pooh. Could a TikTok user put up videos that kind of make fun of him, maybe with references to Winnie the Pooh? I don't know why he doesn't like Winnie the Pooh, but for some reason you can't put Winnie the Pooh up anywhere in China. Can a TikTok user do that?
Yes, Senator.
Really?
Senator, our community guidelines are done for the United States market by our team in California, and our moderators are done here, and that wouldn't be a violation of our community guidelines.
Okay.
Could the Chinese president, could you post content on TikTok of the Chinese president as Winnie the Pooh? I don't know if this is an issue affecting a lot of 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds in the United States who frequent TikTok. But my point of playing that clip is how, obviously how hilarious and over the top that was to specifically ask about the Winnie the Pooh thing. Yes, apparently, Chinese president does not like being compared to Winnie the Pooh. But this was what pretty much every Republican senator on this subcommittee focused on. They had Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube sitting before them. First time for TikTok and Snapchat to be there, too. And an array of issues when it comes to child safety on these platforms. Especially, we were talking, we're talking Facebook and YouTube, sure, but first time where Snapchat and TikTok, the two platforms that I can think of off the top of my head, that are the first two I would think off the top of my head when I'm thinking of a specifically young American audience, like platforms that really are like the user base is primarily made up of young people in their teens. First two I would think of is TikTok and Snapchat. You have them sitting before you for the first time, and every Republican pretty much spent their entire time talking about China and obviously directing the questions at TikTok. China, China, China. Ted Cruz could not get over the fact. He had to come in just 5 minutes on China, China, China. Senator Marsha Blackburn, and to really drive home the obsession here, she didn't just talk about China. Every time she wanted to say China, she had to say the Chinese Communist Party. Real emphasis there, too. The Chinese Communist Party. It is, and let's get this out of the way, too. Obviously, when we're talking about TikTok, there are concerns when it comes to their connection to their parent company, the China-based ByteDance, for sure, obviously. We can say the same thing should be a concern for every other country who has to deal with Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and all the other American and United States-based social media platforms coming into their nation and fucking up all their shit with disinformation, misinformation, hate speech, and all the other bullshit that comes along with it. But let's stick with the issues here. But this is a hearing on child safety. And if you want, TikTok's first time, you want to throw a question about China in there, sure, okay. But every single Republican spent their time. I don't think a single one really mentioned much about Chinese safety, if anything. It was all children's safety. Excuse me, did I say Chinese safety? Children's safety. They all were discussing the fact that TikTok is owned by a Chinese-based a company, ByteDance. It's absolutely ridiculous, And if anything, it really proved to me that really the only reason why they were so the Congress as a whole was so in tune together, they really were. It was a bipartisan effort in those last Facebook hearings, and that's because really both parties just don't like Facebook. Republicans and Democrats are united on one thing, and that's they don't like Facebook. Different reasons, but they both just don't like Facebook. So they're willing to come together to regulate Facebook and put some action, take some action there. But when it comes to big tech as a whole, tech issues as a whole, we're screwed. There's nothing's gonna happen that needs to happen. There's gonna be no real action taken on any of this. And it really, obviously why they're obsessed with it, because they're basically, if you don't remember, last year Donald Trump had a whole grudge against TikTok and tried to get it banned from the country over its ties to China. They're just really trying to continue to get in the good graces of Trump and the MAGA set, I guess. Seems pretty obvious. There were some interesting moments from the hearing outside of that, but that's the main point. But I'll talk about some interesting moments. It's clear that Facebook definitely is the worst offender when it comes to how it uses its algorithm to basically fan the flames and really stoke this stuff, and all in the name of engagements in order to have more user time on their platforms in order to make more money via advertising. I think it was the TikTok executive who pointed out that their algorithm isn't based on the social graph like Facebook's is, and I don't think any platform is really based on the social graph in the same way Facebook is. Now, what that is basically Facebook's entire um, system that determines basically what it shows you is based on the social graph, who you follow, and how much you interact with them, and what you interact with. Based on, it all depends on, it all stems from the user's friends and interactions with them. Whereas, TikTok doesn't really, they base it on the content you watch in general. I mean, that based on, if you ever use TikTok, it's crazy actually how well their algorithm is able to throw things at you that is pretty much directly in tune with the content that they believe you would like. In a way sort of different from the way Facebook does it. I mean, it's still problematic, obviously, in terms of the filter bubble, but it's not so much based on who you're following. So, if you watch a trending TikTok video, they'll base it off of that more so than basically who you're following on the platform. Snapchat always a bit confounds me why Snapchat is always thrown in with these platforms, because they really are more so a private messaging app. Like, I don't use Snapchat because, it is for young people, but also it's not public. Like, I know they have a public feed with like Snap stories from like big companies and partnered channels and stuff. But the main feature of Snapchat is all private and temporary content. Private and temporary content passed between people So to me, it's more like a messaging platform, but it's always thrown in here with these social media platforms. And YouTube obviously they really focused on the YouTube Kids app when they had all this to say, and how, they've been doing all this in terms of kids content for a while, and, they're ahead of the pack. And sure, in a sense they are. They do have the YouTube Kids app, but there was enormous public pressure on YouTube for a variety of different real problems when it came to content being served up to children on that platform before they finally got the Kids app to where it needed to be. And then B, there's still problems. For example, my kids are fed advertisements that are not really, I don't understand why they're hour-long ads seem bizarre enough as it is, but as an adult user, you can press the skip button after 5 seconds. An hour-long advertisement placed on children's content that is not a children's ad even, where they can't skip the content because their parent puts on like a playlist for them, or a specific YouTube channel for kids, so it keeps auto playing. The kid then sitting there stuck watching this content that's not for kids for an hour, or until an adult walks in and sees that they're stuck watching an advertisement. To me, the biggest takeaway was Congress is united in their hatred of Facebook, but that's about it. Could do a lot more hearings with TikTok and Snapchat and get more out of them, but the first one was on child safety, and Republicans wasted their time on China. But one interesting thing is, I didn't know this about Snapchat. If a piece of content starts gaining views, they automatically send it to a human moderator, a human viewer, once it hits something like 25 views. That's pretty incredible, actually. Again, more work should be done in this before I give them any real, thumbs up on that. But 25 views gets you a automatic human intervention to make sure the content is appropriate for whatever, or not harmful to. I think that's It's not bad. Not bad. All right, let's go to the next thing I want to get to. Also, I'll take a few calls. We should have about half an hour for calls. When I'm maybe even a little bit more by the time I'm done with this. Feel free to call in. Skype. Doomed Live on Skype. Search Doomed Live. Call in. I'll take your calls. On this fun extra news of the week episode of Doomed. Fun. All right, let's play this video. All right, so let me cue it up here.
Let me ask
I
a
already
couple
played
questions.
This one. I already played this one. All right, enough of you. Go post Winnie the Pooh on TikTok. Oh, this is what I wanted to play. All right, so how many of you have watched Squid Game? I just finished watching it on Netflix. I thought it was pretty good. I'm a little bit surprised at how much it's blown up. I mean, it is it's not I wouldn't say played out, but it's not a totally original storyline. I mean, Battle Royale, Hunger Games. There's been, plenty of, throw a bunch of people in a game show where they have to kill each other and see what happens type stories in film and TV before. But what didn't surprise me was, so I was surprised, I should say, by it blowing up the way it did. But once I finished watching it, I wasn't surprised because it was really well done. And it's interesting to see all the takes about it because it's been hugely successful. I believe it's Netflix's most popular TV series of all time. And I think it's made them something like close to $1 billion or something like that. However they calculate that. And obviously the takes are coming in. I'm sure there's a bunch of takes from other right-wingers, but this Ben Shapiro one really caught me. He's reviewing the show, and he had this to say.
And this really brings us to the central sort of parasite aspect of Squid Game.
I like how, clearly he's going to make reference to Squid Game. Squid Game's obvious critique on capitalism for anyone who's watched the show. If you haven't, you probably heard about this. But I love how Ben Shapiro's only other example of a film that critiques capitalism is obviously the other Korean-made TV show or film that got popular or made a name for itself in the U.S., and that's Parasite, the movie that came out that also critiqued capitalism in a very pointed way. But let's continue. I'll rewind it because I just thought that was funny.
And this really brings us to the central sort of parasite aspect of Squid Game. It is a dystopian thriller, and so the politics are very communistic in nature. The politics for this very large budget show, which is being shown on Netflix, which is a high market cap tech company, are...
Wait. Is Ben Shapiro making the argument that you cannot critique capitalism if you are making film or TV shows? I mean, that's absurd. My cat's like clawing at the door here. Unbelievable. That's absurd. I mean, at its very nature, like the very heart of it, to make film or video, to make any art, I mean, you need equipment and supplies, right, of some sort. Obviously, film and video require some sort of camera. There's basic money to be had. And, an artist can clearly critique something using the financing they generate. It's not like the creator of Squid Game has multi-millions of dollars and financed the movie himself. He had to, and this Ben should be, Ben should be really, he should be really behind this. Actually, being that the creators of Squid Game obviously I think he spent like something like 10 years writing Squid Game and working to get it made. He fucking worked hard to generate interest and finally get financing for this film in order to critique capitalism. I mean, it's genius to me. The idea that you can't criticize capitalism because you needed money to make a film is ridiculous.
Extraordinarily far to the left. The basic idea is that capitalism provides so little opportunity that you would rather play a game where you might get shot just to make money than attempt to live out your life in the regular world. And you
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's a really good critique there. The fact that these people were so hopeless. You had the main character whose mother, there's some spoilers here. I won't give away any of the surprises or swerves, but obviously I'm going to tell you some basics about the character that really, are not surprising. But the main character, he joins the game because he wants to provide for his daughter, whose mother is moving to the U.S. with her boyfriend, with his daughter, and he finds out that his mother is very sick, but she doesn't want to go to the hospital because they don't have any money. The other character, his friend, who's supposed to be very successful, the pride and joy of the place they come from, turns out he had made a number of bad business decisions and is deeply in debt. So much so that he put up his mom's own business as part of the debt that he owes. And so he is forced to do this in order to not bring shame to his mother and have her lose her business. And she doesn't even know about this too. So she thinks her son is doing great wherever he is, working hard. You have the North Korean woman who came to the South, and he'll bring her up. She's a very cool character. But she escaped North Korea to come to South Korea. And she's got no money to buy any property or really provide anything for her younger brother, who is forced to live in like a home because she can't provide for him. So they're not living together, even though they escaped North Korea to live a better life. And she can't even live with her brother. I mean, these were people who were desperate and had nowhere else to turn and decided, if I can't get this money to get out of this rut I'm in, then, death is the better option.
some of the other characters who are in the regular world, right? So the main character, who again is sort of a derelict and a gambler, his mom is trying to live a normal life, but she's got diabetes and she doesn't have enough money to pay for her surgical care, so she might lose her feet, for example. You have her
feet. I want to make sure. It sounded like he said her feet. Her feet.
Mother of the guy who is corrupt and embezzling, and she runs like a very small stand, but is obviously living in some form of poverty. You have the North Korean escapee who is basically almost homeless and who is forced to steal money. And there's a scene where the North Korean escapee is asked by another character, you escaped from North Korea, was it worth it? And the answer seems to be not really, which is kind of a strange take because North Korea is a giant gulag. It's a giant prison camp. So,
see, this is the thing Ben Shapiro doesn't get. No
matter what you think of South Korea, it is not comparable in any way, shape, or form to the lifestyle in North Korea, where people are, on average, several inches shorter than people in South Korea because of malnutrition.
All right, let's pause on Ben Shapiro here, because this is
not really, which is kind of a strange.
Now, listen, here's what he doesn't get. I don't know if you watched the show, and again, spoiler alert here. Again, this isn't gonna ruin the storyline or anything, but it's a little bit background into that character. When she lived in North Korea, she lived with her family. And my take, and I think it's clear the take here, is that even though she lived in North Korea, she lived with her parents and her younger brother. And as horrible as these conditions in North Korea may have been, like Ben Shapiro says, they had each other. And they escaped to South Korea because they're supposed to live a better life, correct? I'm not going to give away the full spoilers here, but tiny spoiler. In 2 different ways, mom and dad don't make it to South Korea. So the girl and her younger brother, they make it to South Korea without their parents. Still, again, hoping for a better life, right? She can't provide for her younger brother, and because he's underage, he gets sent to a home to live in, so they can't even live together. She gets to visit him, but that's about it. Then she's back on the streets fighting for her own survival. So yeah, when she's saying to herself, was it worth it? Was it worth it? The family had each other in North Korea. They went to South Korea for a better life. Things happened to the parents due to that maneuver. The kids don't even get a better life. The kids are separated. One is by themselves, young boy. I think he's like 9 or 10 or something like that, by himself in a home. And the girl is stuck living on the streets, fighting on for survival. If you watch the show, she gets in with gangs. The gang leader, who is also in the Squid Game, wants to kill her because of, their previous interactions outside. I mean, that should tell you everything right there, really, about the critique and how poignant that critique is and how true that critique is of capitalism. What did the family do all that for? They were together before they went for a better life, right? That's not saying North Korea is good. And the calculation here is also that, if the girl and younger brother get to South Korea and live a life there, the sacrifice of the parents were worth it. But that doesn't even happen. The sacrifice of splitting the family up resulted in nothing for them. But I guess Ben Shapiro is not, do I expect Ben Shapiro to get that? I don't know. But I guess it's at least good that he got that it was a critique of capitalism, right? Because I heard that Tim Pool, I don't have that clip on me, but maybe I should grab it for a separate show. Heard Tim Pool thought that the show was a critique of communism. Even the creator of the series, literally in interviews, is saying, this is a critique of capitalism. Christ. These guys. I mean, personally, my opinion is, in terms of me, if the situation is living in a state that's completely authoritarian and shit, but I'm with my family and we live together, hard life, but we're together, versus hard life, the freedom of a hard life, living on the street, separated from my family, some of them no longer living because of that maneuver, that calculation. I'd probably pick the first one, honestly, because at least we're all together, right? I mean, that's just my call. That's my personal call. All right. Let me. Oh, someone tried to call in. Let's take that call. Where did that? What happened to the call? It just disappeared. I went to accept it and it just disappeared. Oh, look at that. Thank you, when for the donation. Oh, we got a call. Oh, something's going on here. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Renee from Santiago, Chile.
Hey, Renee, how are you?
Great. I was thinking about this, that it goes against like those commentators that say that media is too woke and things like that. Like you can have like a very good critique of society and all that.
Whoa, Renee, back off your video a little bit. I'm bringing you up on the feed. There we go.
Okay.
So what were you saying?
Yeah, this kind of goes against that kind of like some people, I guess quartering or neurotic people like that kind of comment that the media is getting too quote, and that people are more engaged in like filling quotas and white man bad and things like that.
Right. Well,
So but I know that like you had before that Lord of the Flies and
right.
what's it called, Hearts of Darkness and all that, like criticizing like society, colonialism, and shall we say like proto-capitalism and all that. I guess it has to be what the Koreans are doing, and also black auteurs or African American auteurs is like joining that with interesting plot points and script writing and such.
Right.
Yeah, and related to that, I'm gonna call myself out as a geek, but I mean, there's this guy that I follow called Mr. TARDIS, who's like he's in Wales, and is he in Wales? Well, he's British anyway. And what happens is that like the Doctor Who community has like its own like fascist like quartering like kind of personalities. There's this guy called Bolstech that criticizes the fact that he doesn't like black people at all, like living in London or being portrayed in his TV show.
Who is this?
And blah blah blah. He's the guy that goes by Bolstech, but I think he's trying to change his name. He does like these stupid like videos where he's like now that he's like a goat that talks like in an altered voice, like in a high pitched voice.
I honestly don't know who you're talking about.
No. This is completely foreign to you.
Oh, okay.
We're just talking about media. I mean, the interesting thing is that this guy did a deep dive, the British guy, talking and criticizing this Canadian, and there's also this other guy that does like sci-fi and fantasy and all that called Nerderotic, and this also has to do with another, what's it called, like gamers and geeks, or comic book and geeks, comics and geeks, that they had like a problem with Zack Snyder and I guess Sim Liu from Shang-Chi, that they were like called out for being in an echo chamber, much like what happened with Stephen Colbert regarding Gamergate, to bring it back the ball to your court.
Mm-hmm.
And
I appreciate you doing
that. I mean, yeah, basically it was a mixture between like pushing like these like like these narratives and sort of like creating this ambience where they had to go like further and further and further deeper down, like a very stringent, extreme right wing point of view, because they were already feeding that to their viewers,
Right.
who were asking, demanding even more aggressive takes, and
Right.
they had to portray like some sort of like false indignation. So the other guy, the creator in this case, had to be like some, or I guess showrunner, like somebody that, if it's a franchise, somebody that takes the reign, like a Kathleen Kennedy or what have you. That they had to portray them in an ultra negative light, for instance,
Right.
when
All
it's basically either bad art or a bad business decision.
right. All right, Renee.
Okay, I could go on and on because this went on. He also analyzed like the person that's in charge with culture in the BBC, and I was going to tie it to Chilean politics, but I guess I'm out of time.
Yeah, I got. I'm trying to
So
keep. I'm trying because I got the. I'm going on that show at 10:30, so I'm trying to keep it.
okay, I'll be there.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in,
I'll
Renee.
join the raid.
Peace. All right, we had another caller on the line. 1 second. Let me take that call. Here it is. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Really bad quality call right there. Are you? Hello?
Hello?
Oh,
It's
that's
John
much better.
from
That's
Peoria.
much better.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Don't worry about it. Who's this?
John Renee from Peoria.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good, thanks. What would you like to talk about?
Well, I was just going to comment that, I kind of fell in love with some of the Korean dramas about 4 years ago. And, they have some pretty good shows, like American TV. There are also some pretty awful ones. But Shapiro not understanding how difficult people from North Korea moving to South Korea doesn't surprise me. I mean, he doesn't really explore anything. I think if you look at there's channels on YouTube like Asian Boss that have interviewed people who have come from the North to the South, and there's a lot of issues. First of all, they face danger at every turn just to get to the South, and then when they get to the South, they often face prejudice from South Koreans. A lot of times they go through a vetting procedure because there's concerns of North Korean agents coming to the South, and and also they're looked at from a societal point of view as a bit strange, and so much so that some North Koreans or expats end up going to America. That's why you have people that spend very little time in South Korea and decide to emigrate to the United States. And I would, direct your attention to like I say, the Asian Boss has interviews with, I think she's become fairly famous. She's like giving a TED talk and stuff. I mean, of this woman that I believe is in her mid-30s, who just went through so much that you can't believe someone would endure that to get to a country that, had mixed results for her. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out.
Right. No, I got to check that out. Who Asian Boss, you said?
Yes. If you look for Koreans with, I'm sorry, if you look for interviews with North Koreans, you'll probably find a whole bunch of them.
Okay, cool. I'll have to check it out. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Take care.
Bye. We had another caller on the line here. Let me see if they're... I'll take this call, and then we'll, if there's no other callers on the line, I'll get to the Charlie Kirk clip. This was the Charlie Kirk clip here. It's something. It's something else. Really. All right, here we go.
Caller on the line.
Hey, just turn down my.
My
Yep.
bad.
Cool. And can I pull you up on the feed? Do you mind if your video feed is on the stream?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm Ken. I'm from Charleston now. I used to be from Tallahassee.
How you doing? What's it to talk about?
So I called you like a month ago to talk about a horticulture-related conspiracy about atrazine and gay frogs and stuff like that. And my rabbit was there.
Oh,
Do you remember?
rabbit. That's cool. I
Yeah.
think I remember that conversation. Yes, but I don't remember seeing your rabbit. You might have not had the video feed on then.
Yeah, it was you and the Mike Figuadero.
Well, you're in my split screen. We can't see your rabbit. So there we go. There's the bunny.
Okay.
Cool. You
I
should just
wanna tell-
leave it on the rabbit so it looks like I'm talking to a rabbit. So, Mr. Bunny, what would you like to talk about?
I wanted to tell another fruit-related conspiracy, a real-life fruit-related conspiracy, plant-related, because that's kind of my interest, that you might be interested in. It involves big sugar and corruption and weird fruit. So, have you ever heard of the fruit called the miracle fruit or the miracle berry?
I have not. No. Is this the
So
same
it's
as
this
like
little red.
a Kai berry, whatever it's called, a ACAI berry, or
No,
whatever
no.
that is?
It's kind of like a one-in-a-kind fruit. There's some other similar ones, but basically it's this little red fruit that doesn't really taste like much. It's like kind of sweet, kind of tart. But once you eat it and then you eat like something sour or bitter afterwards, it will just taste really sweet. Because what the fruit does is it coats your tongue with compounds that block out any of your taste buds that don't taste sugar. So you eat the miracle fruit and then you can drink a cup of vinegar or drink a cup of like lemon juice and it just tastes super sweet.
Okay.
So back in the 60s, there was this guy named Bob Harvey who heard a lecture at a university about this fruit. And he was like an entrepreneur, business guy. And he thought it would be a really good idea if he tried to mass produce this fruit somehow to use it as an artificial sweetener. And so he started this company and he figured out how to isolate the compound from miracle fruit so he could put it into gum or popsicles or whatever. And he was getting to the point where he was making like, $10 million deals, probably like the equivalent of like 100 million in today's money, with like companies like Popsicle and Chiclet Gum to commercialize this product to be an artificial sweetener. But then one day he's working late in his lab and he comes home and he sees there's like another car in the parking lot. And he's like driving home and this car is like speeding after him. And he like pulls over to the side of the road and loses the car. But then the next day he goes back into his lab and it's like completely raided. And like a bunch of his documents are missing and a bunch of like really important stuff from his lab is missing. And then a couple weeks later, the FDA adds Miraculin, the compound from miracle fruit, to the list of banned substances, banned food additive substances. And so his business is destroyed. Miraculin's now considered illegal by the FDA. And so this guy, Bob Harvey, he just like, he moves on. He starts like an exercise equipment company and still is a successful business guy. But years later, he's talking to one of his lawyers, and his lawyer goes, I was looking through, resumes for private investigators, and one of them has listed on their resume that they successfully, destroyed the Miracle Fruit Company and got Miraculin added to the list of FDA banned substances on behalf of Big Sugar, on behalf of the sugar industry.
But why would they have needed to confiscate his shit and raid him if they were just going to make it illegal? Couldn't they just have done that?
Because they needed to know what the compound was made up of.
I don't know. It seems. What is it? What was the name of this guy again?
The guy's name is Bob Harvey.
Bob.
The documentation, or like the place I got the source from, is this book called The Fruit Hunters. And there's an interview with the author of the book on Democracy Now! From like probably 10 years ago talking about this story. I don't know if the story's 100% true. I've really just heard it from this book. But it's interesting, and like
this is very interesting. This is something I'm going to look into. I mean, it could be. I don't know anything about this. To me, just hearing it, it seems weird. That I mean, I guess if they didn't, it seems like something they could have figured out though. It seems pretty simple
True, yeah.
just to, if the government is just going to make something illegal, they don't really need to, confiscate it in advance. If this was just the one guy who, you know what I mean?
That is true. It was illegal up until like 2008, I think, and now it's legal and you can get it on Amazon. I've tried the actual fruit and I've tried the extract. It is really cool and worth trying, and it's the only artificial sweetener that in a double-blind taste test is actually preferred over regular sugar.
I'm seeing some stories about the miracle sugar substitute the FDA won't let you have. But why? This was from 2015, it looks like.
Yeah, the sugar lobby is extremely powerful, especially in Florida. There's a lot of like shit going on with them trying to artificially inflate sugar prices, basically. So they lobby the government. There was also like a big battle between them and the Dade County Water Management District about like this, a bunch of their land was basically pumping fertilizer into the waterways and polluting the water and the ocean, and the sugar lobby, like, it was very difficult to get them to give this piece of land to be used as a reclamation, a water like recovery area. And actually Ron DeSantis, one of the first things he did as governor, and probably the reason why he became governor, was going against the sugar industry. And because when he was in the Republican primary, he basically said, this other guy's bought out by the sugar industry and is corrupt. And that's what ended up winning him the primary. Well, that and him being just a complete Trump, goon. And then one of the first things he did as governor was make the sugar industry give away a bunch of land to be used as like a treatment site. And early on, before COVID, a lot of people were like, Ron DeSantis is going to be good for the environment and he's going to be a good, governor. And then obviously he went completely nuts.
All right.
And didn't really do anything else to help the environment afterwards. But yeah, the miracle fruit thing happened in Florida too, I'm pretty sure.
I'm interested in finding this guy. This is when you first told me, my first thought was, this seems weird, but now I'm looking into it while I'm on the phone with you, and just this this basic research of it, it seems very, there's something here.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, it is. Definitely
I don't
nuts.
know whether to fully believe it either, but definitely interesting.
I mean, I don't know whether to believe but it's very clear that it was made, the FDA was against it, and the guy's business went under and he wasn't able to pursue this. That is true. The question is, what was that all about? Why was it a problem?
Yeah, and is the story of his lab getting raided true by a private investigator?
Right, because it looks like the raid thing is from him. Like, he's the only one I can see
Right.
that, which doesn't necessarily mean he's lying, but I mean, and this is obviously, this was in a time when maybe, nowadays you might not believe it, but it's not like things were always being posted online, you know what I mean?
One more thing I will say is that the sugar lobby also publishes a lot of the research that says that artificial sweeteners are unhealthy. And there's actually a lot of bad scientific research papers that get published saying that, aspartame and stevia and all these artificial sweeteners are unsafe, when in reality they're actually safe. Um, there's a YouTuber named Rebecca Watson
Oh,
who
I know her.
has a few videos talking
Right.
about it.
I wanted to have
Um,
her on for something else. I forgot what. But yeah, I got to reach out to her and have her on for something. So hold on. Someone in the YouTube chat had something to say that is very relevant to this. Oh, AS on YouTube. In 1977, Donald Rumsfeld was the CEO of a company called GD Searle. Searle was responsible for pushing aspartame through the FDA. Oh.
yeah, that there is a, yeah, like I think they kind of wanted certain compounds to be approved and other ones not to be, I guess because they had the patent for them. And I think aspartame was one of the ones they wanted. But I think the main thing is they didn't want ones that would perform better than sugar, right? Like aspartame sucks. It's just not as good. But Miracle Fruit is
I honestly
great.
know nothing about even less than like basics about food and cooking and what's used, and I don't know anything. You're looking at
Do you drink a
someone.
lot of soda?
I drink a lot of soda.
Do you drink all like full sugar soda?
I buy whatever bottles of Coke or Pepsi or Dr. Pepper that my local supermarket or 7-Eleven
But like not
has.
diet,
I don't personally drink diet, no.
right? Yeah, I mean, if you could get one that was like tasted better and had 0 calories, like it'd be a no-brainer, I think.
Isn't that like what Coke Zero and Pepsi One is?
Yeah, but they don't taste better.
I've heard from people who, such as my significant other, who used to drink diet soda and now swears only to drink Coke Zero or Pepsi One, saying there's a huge taste difference. I mean, I don't, as someone who just
Yeah,
drinks, as someone who drinks the normal regular soda, I don't really see that big of a difference, but apparently there is.
yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of like my girlfriend also enjoys like stevia and the artificial sweeteners, but like to me it's just like it just doesn't taste as good. It's just like kind of has a bitter aftertaste. But the miracle fruit doesn't.
All right. And may I ask what a bunny is doing, knowing so much about sugar? Is this bunny? Do you like sugar?
But bunnies do eat sugar. Yeah, just they can't have too much, but a little blueberry, a little bit of banana here and there is good for a bunny.
Right. I had a ferret, which is your bunny's mortal enemy, and everything in like the media, whenever they talk about ferrets, they love like sweet treats and things like that, and I'd give him like just like that a little bit of sweet treats every now and then,
Didn't
later
Rudy Giuliani try to ban ferrets,
he
or was
did.
that
No,
Burger?
he did, and they're still banned in New York City. Amazingly enough.
How'd you have one? Was it
Oh,
contraband
I
ferret?
mean, it was a contraband ferret. Yes. I mean, what are they gonna do? Knock down my door and confiscate my ferret? I had a ferret. I was breaking the law.
Did you get
Um,
it as a response to the ban?
no, I always thought ferrets were cool. Ferrets are the punk rock animal. I don't know if you've ever been to a punk show where some crusties got their pet ferret on their shoulder while they're at the show. Many of those were in my were in my punk scene. So I was like, damn, an animal you could take to your local punk show. I want one.
That explains a lot. I saw a dude walking his ferret on a leash once, and he looked pretty punk rock.
I would bring my ferret on a leash, although my ferret didn't like doing that much. But I later found out that in fact, all that ferret media is just like it's bullshit, man. Because it's actually really bad for them. They should not be having like sweet treats at all, and they are very prone to sickness because I don't know. Again, I found out a lot about ferrets when I got my ferret, but domesticated ferrets don't exist in the wild. They're very dependent on people, and because of how they've been breeded, they're all messed up, and they all die pretty much well before natural death because of one of two issues that pretty much every single ferret faces because of the domestication and the way they were breeded.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So when people
But
are
did
like,
the
you can't
ferrets
have a
eat all
ferret.
like vegetarian too? Like,
No, they're not vegetarian, but they need to have a specific diet.
yeah, rabbits too. They
And,
have to eat basically only hay and lettuce.
and basically every domesticated ferret comes from like one of two farms in the U.S. Like it's a complete monopoly on in the ferret world, and they get tattooed on their ears when they officially come for one of these breeders, one of these farms. One to say they were spayed, and one to say they were descented. And fun fact about me, I have the ferret tattoo of the two dots they get on their ear. I don't know if you could see it. Is it even on that ear? I can't remember which ear it's on. If you've ever noticed two dots on my ear, it's in memory of my ferret. I got the same tattoo my ferret had because I thought it was cool. What animal has a tattoo? Apparently, every single ferret has this tattoo.
I'm learning so much about ferrets. Ferrets really are the most punk rock animal or pet.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also, fun fact about my ferret, I got the ferret off of Craigslist from someone who was looking to give them up. And they had told me that their ferret's name was Tabitha. Obviously a girl, right? Tabitha. So I kept the name because I liked the name. The ferret looked like a Tabitha. And ferret never got sick in all the years I had her until the very end when she, one of those two issues I mentioned to you came up. And I took her to the vet. And here it was, about like 3 or 4 years of having this ferret. I think it was 5 maybe even. And the vet tells me, oh, by the way, your ferret is a boy. I was like, what? So that was cool. I kept the name Tabitha, and I had a ferret I thought was female was actually a male.
So the vets will still see your ferret even though it's illegal.
I took the vet to a specialty ferret, a specialty exotic animal vet that obviously would see ferrets in Long Island. And they're legal in Long Island. Literally, they're only illegal in New York City, the 5 boroughs. So if you're someone who lives in Queens, where you're technically on Long Island, and you're literally like, depending on where you are in Queens, you could be closer to Long Island than you are to like Manhattan or the rest of the city. Still, it's illegal to have a ferret.
Staten Island ferrets are okay.
In Long Island, ferrets are okay. In Staten Island, they're still illegal because Staten Island's part of New York City.
I didn't know that. I guess I don't know my New York City geography well enough.
Oh, yeah. 5 boroughs: Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island. Long Island is not a borough. Is not a borough, even though they might as well be. They're cut off from the rest of New York. You can't leave the state of. If you're on Long Island, you can't leave the state of New York without going through multiple boroughs of New York City. They're literally cut off from the rest of the country. They should really just be part of New York City, but also we probably shouldn't take them because their politics really aren't. And you visit Long Island, it's like, whoa, where am I?
Long Island's kind of like more suburban too. It's not as built up.
It's
right?
it's very suburban.
Yeah,
it's where the Hamptons are too, where all the rich people have their summer homes.
Well, yeah, that was. I learned a lot about ferrets. I think you learned a lot about weird fruit and the.
You gave me possibly a complete episode here. I gotta see if I can, because this doesn't look like it's something that's like well covered. I would love to.
Try to get Adam Goldner on your show. That'd be amazing. The guy who wrote the Fruit Hunters book.
What? Who is that?
The guy who wrote this book, The Fruit Hunters. This is like the Bible for fruit nerds like me. And he talks about this story. Maybe you could try to get him on. I don't know.
I would love to find if he's still with us. I don't know how old the guy is. Robert.
Oh, I think he's younger. The author of the book. Oh,
Robert Harvey.
Guy who started the company is, I don't know. He's alive.
It'd be very interesting to get him.
Bob Harvey was the guy's name.
Right. Well, I'll have to look that up. See if he's still around.
Yeah. You could even try the miracle fruit for the episode. I know a lot of YouTubers try miracle fruit for a YouTube video.
It's still called Miraculin.
Yeah.
He didn't have
If
like
you
a
search
he didn't
miracle
have like
fruit,
he didn't have
it'll
like a
come up.
he didn't have like a patent on that shit or anything like that. He didn't get anything out of this.
I don't think so, because they banned it and then they unbanned it in 2008, way after he was already done. So I don't think he had a patent, because I don't think you can have a patent on something that's banned. Maybe you can. I don't know. That's a hard question.
Interesting. I have to look into it. Thanks for the call. Something new
Yeah,
to
no
look
problem.
into.
Have a good one.
Take care. Have a great night. All right, folks. It's already almost time for me to go on that other stream. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's up here. Any other callers? No, I think that's it for the calls. All right, let's do this. This is amazing. This is an amazing clip. This is quite frankly an amazing clip. Let me.
And this really.
No, not the Ben Shapiro one again. Let me just cue this up here. This is really something. So, Charlie Kirk, Mr. Turning Point USA, he's going on his. He's got his new show where he debates people. Charlie Kirk, reach out to me, by the way. I'll go on your show if you want me. Even if you don't, I'll go on your show. But anyway, Charlie Kirk is apparently on this touring the country on something called the Critical Race Theory Tour with his organization Turning Point USA. And I don't know exactly what the purpose of the tour is. I'm assuming it's related to getting conservatives all riled up about school boards and what their kids are being taught and all that fun stuff that they're currently obsessing over. But then at a tour stop, I think it was in Idaho. He's taking questions from the audience, and I don't think he was quite expecting this type of questioning. And I say to him, if he wasn't, that he should have expected this type of questioning, because this is the exact type of person he's driving to his shows, driving to his content, period, honestly. And this is the exact kind of rhetoric he's fomenting with his own rhetoric. Let's play this clip. And it's something to, something to be cautious of, to be quite frank. When you watch this, it's something, it's jarring.
You ready? Yeah. You're brave. You're brave for what you say and the fact that you stand up there and say it, and I appreciate it. I think we all appreciate it, actually, because there's not a lot of people that have the balls to do it. But I want to ask you something a little bit out of the ordinary. So, prepare yourself. At this point, we're living under corporate and medical fascism. This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not, that's not a joke. I'm not saying it like that. I mean, literally, where's the line? How many elections are they going to steal before we kill these people?
I mean, he's really just coming out and saying it, right? I mean, I wonder if this guy knows he's on camera here, because this is pretty fucked up. But I mean, Charlie Kirk supported the January 6th events at the Capitol. His organization was involved in getting people to the event. His rhetoric completely supported what this guy believes when it comes to electoral fraud, which does not exist at any level or scale to change any election. It just, I believe we have a total of geez, I don't know, like less than a dozen maybe issues of election fraud in the 2020 presidential election. And I think like the majority of it was actually people who were committing election fraud for Donald Trump. Let me rewind it a little bit because I think you need to hear this again. And let's hear what Charlie Kirk's reaction is.
No, and I'm not. That's not a joke. I'm not saying it like that. I mean, literally, where's the line? How many elections are they going to steal before we kill these people?
So no, no, hold on. No, stop. Hold on. Now I'm going to denounce that. I'm going to tell you why.
Here, no, I just want to be quite frank here. Here's Charlie Kirk, obviously flustered, because he's worried about how this is going to look on him. To be quite frank. He just listen to how he approaches this. I mean, this isn't a guy who's really all that disgusted with that sort of rhetoric. Clearly, this is a guy who's just worried about this being some sort of consequence for him, having this guy say that, and he knows all eyes are on him and how he handles this. So just watch.
You're playing into all their plans, and they're trying to make you do this. That's okay. Just hear me out.
He's playing into all their plans. This guy, who Charlie Kirk basically created, the monster Charlie Kirk created here. Charlie's saying that he's actually playing into the other side's plans. Right. The other side, whether it be the left or Democrats, they created this guy because they want him to do this, according to Charlie Kirk. Not Charlie Kirk, the guy who this man in the audience listens to, and it comes out to watch his show and where he's learning about all this from. That's not where he got it from. Of course not. Of course not.
You started with a compliment, so at least give me a little bit. They are trying to provoke you and everyone here.
Right.
They are
the
trying
ones provoking,
to
right?
make you do something that will be violent, that will justify a takeover of your freedoms and liberties, the likes of which we have never seen. We are close to have, we are close to have momentum to be able to get this country back on a trajectory using the peaceful means that we have at us. So to answer your question,
the dude literally was involved with January 6th. Oh, I just accidentally fast-forwarded. Let me rewind.
I just think it's, overly blunt. We have to be the ones that do something that will be violent, that will justify a takeover of your freedoms and liberties, the likes of which we have never seen. We are close to have, we are close to have momentum to be able to get this country back on a trajectory using the peaceful means that we have at us. So to answer your question, and I just think it's, overly blunt, we have to be the ones that do not play into the violent aims and ambitions of the other side. They fear, let me say this very clearly, they fear us holding the line with self-control and discipline, taking over school board meetings. They're the ones that are willing to use federal force against us. And I know that people get fired up. We are living under fascism. We are living under this tyranny. But if you think for a second that they're not wanting you to all of a sudden get that next level where they're going to say, okay, we need Patriot Act 2.0. If you think that, Waco is bad, wait till you see what they want to do next.
Right.
What I'm saying is that we have a very fragile balance right now at our current time where we must exhaust every single peaceful mean possible. I will say this, Idaho has not even started to exercise the peaceful means of state sovereignty against the federal government. Not even close. I'll give you 5 things Idaho could do right now. The governor of Idaho could sign an executive order that says there are no vaccine mandates for private, for public, for anyone. It's not going to happen. He could do that right now. Number 2, the governor of Idaho could come out and he could say, okay, BLM, Bureau of Land Management, EPA, you're out. We're governing our own lands. We're in control of our own territories. You're out of the state of Idaho. Number 3, Idaho could pick and choose through the state legislature.
No, I don't know if Idaho can do that off the top of my head, honestly. Doesn't seem like it's that simple, does it? I don't think they could just say Bureau of Land Management, leave. But Charlie Kirk is clearly grasping at whatever he can in order to make sure that his biggest fan in the audience there doesn't go out and kill people after the show.
Which one of the federal laws they think actually apply to the Idaho Constitution. These things will push back against the tyranny you're talking about. A mistake would all of a sudden be getting into physical violent confrontation. You think that this regime has all of a sudden sprung into action? Wait until they get what they want. They want that. Why would we give that to them? Follow-up point?
I just want to know, where's the line?
The guy's still going at him. All this just going over his head. This is a guy who's listened to Charlie Kirk, loves the big fan. He already said big fan. And he wants to go out and just start. He literally is asking to shoot people who have different beliefs than him, quite frankly.
The line is when we exhaust every single one of our state ability to push back against what's happening. We haven't even started. We have not even started the process of having Idaho or states like Idaho get back to self-government as our founders envisioned. They gave us state sovereignty. You outnumber the liberals like 8-1 here in this state. Why don't we start to use that muscle peacefully through local government, through city council? We haven't even started doing that, my friend. I know you think like, oh, we have, man, not what I've seen from the state capitol here in Idaho. I've seen pandering. I've seen, trying to go to the middle and all this. And so what is the line? Look, man, I think we're at the teetering edge of a regime that knows that good and decent Americans are going to get to the place in the movie network. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, right? Well, guess what? Know that there's a deeper game at play. Understand the psychological warfare that's being played here. They're trying to animate you. They're trying to get you to do something that then justifies what they actually want to do. So what's the solution? We need to start to demand Idaho to be Idaho, and the federal government can stay out of the state of Idaho for just about everything.
What?
So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, please go somewhere else. Oh boy, he's scratching his head. He's nervous about this one. I love that he brought up how that's tyranny. The other people are the other. First of all, who is they exactly? Just they never really. Charlie Kirk never really even specifies there. But I do love that he says that their tyranny, as he's talking to a guy who wants to go and just start murdering people who disagree with him. Right? And by the way, great name for your tour if you're going to fix the camera so that the wording behind you looks like it's saying fascism tour, to be quite frank. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Maybe there's a letter missing, but or racism tour. There we go. That could that works a little bit better. Lucius in the Twitch chat says masks are tyranny, murdering people though. A-okay. Yep. He says there's a line where that's, once we exhaust all the states' rights stuff, he said, that's when maybe you can go murdering. But we got a lot of states' rights stuff to try to do first. Things that I know are not, are not legal or the state can do. But I'll just say that, because oh boy, this is gonna look really, really bad for me that this guy's in the audience. But let me pretend that he's actually like this because the other people who he wants to kill turned him into this monster. Not me. The guy who this deranged fellow in the audience loves and listens to. Incredible. All right, let me check if Unelectable Airwaves is on the air yet here. Here it seems like they are. Just getting started here. All right, cool. You know what? All right, so here's what we're going to do. Why don't you guys all, if you're in the YouTube chat, go over right now. If you're watching the YouTube live stream, oh my God, what did I just say? My mouth just said words that were not actual words. If you're watching the YouTube live stream, Well, first of all, patreon.com/MattBinder if you could support this show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/MattBinder. There are links on Twitter, my tip jar. If you want to give a one-off donation, doomedcast.com for the audio version of this show. ratethispodcast.com/doomed for all the links to rate this podcast, such as on Apple Podcasts, etc. Twitch.tv/MattBinder. And that's where I want you guys to go right now if you're on the YouTube live stream. Go to twitch.tv/MattBinder. Go there right now. And what I'm going to do is very shortly, in about, I'm going to give it a minute here. I am going to do a raid on Twitch over to that show I'm going to be on, Unelectable Airwaves on Twitch. I mean, you can just go to twitch.tv/unelectable airwaves, but to make sure you all get there, go to twitch.tv/MattBinder, and I'm going to do a raid. Am I going to fuck up the raid? I don't know. I fucked it up last time I tried to do it. But I'm going to try to do it. So let me go to my Twitch channel. And I am going to do the raid. If you're listening to the pod, I don't know if this podcast is going to be for everybody, or if this is going to be, if today's episode is just going to be for patrons, members. I'm going to consider that. But what I'm going to do now is this show is going to end, but I'm going to keep a countdown on, and I'm going to send everyone in the Twitch feed to Unelectable Airwaves, and I'm then going to be on that show. So if you're watching Doomed right now, I'm going on Unelectable Airwaves. Here we go. All right. See you all next time on Doomed. And now I will do that raid on Twitch at the end of this countdown.